Hi, Jeanette here, and we're actually having a pretty nice little stretch of weather. I'm outside, the wind's blowing a little bit. I don't know, hopefully it won't hurt us. I'll stop right here. We're gonna have quail for Christmas, and today I need to sort out my quail that I'm gonna prepare. I'm on my way up to do my chores. It's a good day for me to get this job done. I'm gonna grab this cage right here and put the quail in it. Thought you might like to see how the ducks are doing. They're growing like crazy. And they sure do like their water every morning. Their waters are empty and they're thirsty. I have the quail primarily in this 3-tier stack cage. They're all mixed together. They just were straight run when I put them in here. They've been laying eggs for a while. And then I've got this other cage down here on the floor that I would like to not use anymore if I can make enough room in the stack cage to accommodate them. We'll see what happens. First, I'm just going to take all the males out. Okay, in that pen right there, I had 13 birds. It turns out that 9 of them were males. That's way out of proportion. So I'd say this job needed to be done a little while ago. The quail are like 10 or 11 weeks old, so they're not real old, but that was a lot of males in there with 2 females. Well, I've been trying to decide how many quail we need around here. I've collected out of here about 20. It's hard to count for sure, that I'm going to cull out because they're males. There's one female in here that is hunkered down to the ground, and she feels fat and everything, but I'm concerned that she's going to not go well. Her head's kind of pecked up, so somebody's been picking on her a little bit. So I think I'll go ahead and harvest her, but I'm in the process of trying to figure out how to manage the quail so that they are an asset to us instead of a constant expenditure on our finances, because we have to feed them. But you know, we almost get too many eggs because we have the duck eggs too. And I'll let you know sometime, I hope soon, what I've decided. At this point, I've still got like 20 females in this building with males to go with them at a ratio of 5 to 1. Then I'm going to clean these and get them ready for Christmas dinner. Molly thinks these quail ought to be for her. We brought the quail down to the house in that wagon, and Dugan helped me to get the heads off of the quail outside. We did about 6 at a time, and then I brought them inside. And I stood at my little table that I have here and butchered them inside my house. They're really quite easy, and I was getting it at the end where I was cleaning one in about 2 minutes, so it's not very hard. I chose not to show that in this video, but I'm just telling you that that's what's happened here. After I cleaned them, I brought them over and I put them, just dunked them into a sink of cold water, collected them there, and after I got all finished, I rinsed them all under running water, and then I put them all in a sink full of clean water to sit here and cool out a little bit more. My plan is to put as many as I can into this bucket, and then I intend to put this in the refrigerator for the night to let the meat relax. In the morning, I'll continue with this video. Don't give up on me right here. I'll continue in the morning and show you what I'm going to do for the Christmas dinner. So stick around here just a couple seconds. It's the next morning, and I've got my chores done. I've got a load of clothes out on the clothesline, and it's time for me to start working on these quail. All 22 quail did fit in this container, and I left them there overnight. I'm going to practice on what I'm going to do to them for a little bit because I've never done it before, but give me some time, like 2 seconds to practice, and then I'll show you what to do. The way I'm going to fix it I want to tell you at this point that when you're working with poultry in your kitchen, you need to be careful that you don't add salmonella possibilities all over your kitchen. Don't be touching things with your hands when they're messy. I suggest that you have a dedicated towel that you're going to use while you're doing your job, and then you won't be quite so worried about wiping your messy hands on something, but you won't be spreading it around either. I would contain the process to just like 2 different places in your kitchen, one on your counter that you're going to use and your sink. Then after you're through with it, go through and clean it all very well. We don't want to make anybody sick by having salmonella or any other kind of poultry germs around in our kitchen, and just take that precaution. Okay, I've worked at it long enough that I feel like I can be pretty adept at it. I'm going to make some suggestions first. Have yourself a cloth that is damp nearby so you can wipe your fingers on it. Have a bowl or container over here that I have, you can't see, that where you can put your bones and scraps. Have a small knife available that's pretty sharp, and of course a cutting board. What I'm going to do to this quail is what's called semi-deboning. I have cut it up the back when I cleaned the quail so that I could get to the insides and get them out without having to reach my hand up in a tiny little cavity at the end to scoop it all out. And then I've also taken the wings off because the wings don't have much meat on them, and the whole process is just easier to do without the wings on there. What we're left with is the breast meat and the 2 legs with the thigh included. The first thing we'll do in the process is to locate the wishbone, which is right up at the top of the breast, and take your finger, your thumb, or whatever you use and slide into the meat and down along that wishbone. Sometimes the wishbone will disconnect down here, but sometimes it will break, so I've taken a knife and just cut that loose. Go ahead and keep loosening it. And what you end up with is a tiny little wishbone. Next we'll turn the quail over to so we can see the inside, and with my thumb I will slide up underneath the rib cage on one side and take that away from the meat, break it off and discard it, get it out of the way. Do the other side. Next thing I'll do is show you where the collar bones are on each side, and they're kind of a long skinny bone. We're going to break that loose from the meat on each side. Try not to break these bones. If you do, it's not a problem, but they're kind of sharp and they can poke you. Now sometimes it's a little tough to get it loose from around the top where the wings were. If it is, take your knife and cut that loose on each side. Sometimes it just comes right loose, but this one seemed a little tougher. Next thing we're going to do is start working the breastbone out. And on the top you will see that there's a little hollow on each side of the main bone that protrudes there. We're going to scoop the meat away with our fingers down through there. Try not to tear the meat if you can help it. If you do tear it, like I did there, just set it aside, and I'll show you where to put it. It's not going to be wasted. Okay, just separate that breastbone away from the meat, discard it, and lay your quail out. Feel for any other bones, which I do have one right here. And then I'm just going to take this meat that tore off and I'm going to lay it down in there. I'm going to fold these legs up over and fold this around, encasing the legs. I'll set it aside. And so here I have a platter full of quail all ready to go on to the next step. I've set up so I don't have to keep stopping and washing my hands. I've got some toothpicks, the right amount, set in a bowl. I've got my bacon laying here. I've got the quail within arm's reach. What I'm doing with the quail is at the head end, I'm laying at the end of the bacon and then wrapping around. I'm lapping over here to hold that and continue on down around to the end of the bacon. Take a toothpick and push it in there just to hold it all together. Set it aside. Stay tuned because I'm going to cook 2 of them just to see how they turn out. I think it's a good idea if you stretch your bacon out as far as you can without tearing it. The bacon will seal in the juices of the quail with the grease of the bacon and add an extra good flavor to it. I mean, who doesn't like bacon? My oven for 350 degrees. Put my dish in the oven to get it preheated. I'm not a big fan of foil, but I'm going to cover it with foil. I'm going to try to do it so that the foil doesn't actually touch the meat. I'll put it back in the oven for 50 minutes. After 50 minutes it wasn't done. I didn't feel like it at all, so I put another 10 minutes on it. At an hour's time I took it out. I took its temperature. It came up to the temperature that I need, which is it was just hair under 165 degrees, but the bacon isn't quite as browned as I'd like, so I'm turning my broiler on and going to brown up the bacon a little bit on top. Browning that bacon under the broiler made a whole lot of difference. Before you serve it, you might want to take the toothpick out, but I'll have to let that cool just a little bit before I can take it out.